nonsense, so that we deny ourselves. So, self-denial is perpetual blindness. I have to go to this blackboard to put on their substance that you could eat that still would violate us. This is why I said some years ago in New York, I don't want us to get tight, because this one is really going to do a number on us. This one is going to really let us see, oh God, did we really do that? Yes, we did. I am not talking way back 100 years. I'm talking just about 3-4 years ago. We did something that would have prevented all of this evening. You wouldn't need to come here to hear me talk about anything. Now we're going to go to it. This is in millions, 5 million. We're talking about millions. $10, $11, $18, $25, and $3.28. Shoe factory, clothing factory, I mean cotton clothes, not polyester that kills you, chokes you. 1,400 acres of land with hot spring on it to heal our grandmothers and our elders that can't be healed because they don't have the money sometimes to travel. We would have that. 7 healing centers, one in New York, one in Chicago, one in the major cities. 7 farmers who would grow the vegetables organically grown. Each of them would get $1 million. We have 2 boats, refrigerated to bring the stuff from the tropics, and 1 healing center that's already built, $28 million. That's all it would cost us. That's all. Where are we going to get it from? You gave it away 4 years ago. We gave it away.
Look out, Doctor.
$1 million man march. Each one spent the average of $200. $200 million. Subtracting 28 from 200 million that we gave away to say I love you and went home and nothing after that. You still have $162 million left. What you gonna do with that? That's what we did. That is exactly what we did. Now, since it was necessary to do the Million Man March and we spent $200 million, is it possible that we could give $200 to a fund to bring this all about and we still have $172 million left that we could take care of our affairs internally? Could we do that one? Or is it that we had to march to Washington under the auspices of Abraham Lincoln to say, I love you. Are we going to do this one? Are we going to support this? No, we're not. Because this is not promoted on primetime TV. See, the Minuteman March had primetime TV. This doesn't. So this has to suffer. What's going on? What's up? You think this was unreachable? Look what we gave away. But the Million Man March was good because it showed us what we could do. We'll just do this. Well, there are a group of sisters who is doing this. They are known as this, the Danbury woman. Danbury is a word that I learned right here in Chicago from a sister that was introduced to me by another sister from Chicago. Her name is Fatoumata. Fatou is a Muslim. She's from Senegal. She came to do my wife hair. And she had a pain. She would, you know, like squinch and hold her stomach. I said to her, I asked her what was wrong. She said she had a pain. So I gave her a compound. 5 minutes later, she had no pain. She said, Sebi, you're part of Dembali. I said, what is Dembali? She said, Dembali is help to cross over. Help to cross over from darkness to light. From disease to ease. So I didn't know that one day, that very word, 7 years ago here in Chicago, will manifest into this. Those women are doing this. This is going on the internet. Because if we could give away $200 million in one day and come back home and show nothing for it, could we do that? What would be sensible? Correct me if I'm wrong, I need help. I need help. Because everywhere I go, I'll be talking about this. Dembali. Dembali would also promote the medicine throughout Africa and the world. Because we know that Dembali is offering what has not been offered. Our sister just walked up and said that she represents live food. Live food. You think I've not been hearing that since I've been on this journey? Live food. But what do we mean by live food? Live is something that has electricity. To feed an electric body that moves. But anything that's alive and has electricity has no starch. So when we eat a carrot uncooked, we're eating an uncooked piece of garbage. It's not live, it's dead. It has starch. So whether you eat carrot cooked or alive or uncooked, it's not alive. It doesn't matter. When I went to Russia, I found something out that I didn't want to hear. I didn't want to know. It was about the sunflower. You know, when you're impotent, you eat a lot of sunflower seed, right? Because it contains zinc. Organic zinc, they say. But guess what? Whenever you see a sunflower, is it following the sun? The answer is no. It's always looking down. Sunflower was made in Russia. It's a hybrid that was made in Russia. That is highly acid. And don't take my word for it. Grind it up and give it a pH. Go to the student science centers in the colleges and buy yourself a pH tester. And you test every substance that is in the supermarket. And all of it is on the acid side. Hair, because we live this acid-based thought, this left undone. The Million man march, 1 million man march, cost us $200 million. Could we donate just 28 to bring this about? We're not asking for the 200 million. We just want this to make it easy for us, to make it where we could really hug, because we are providing ourselves with the quality of health that we need, that we could afford. Yes, we could do it. Someone has to talk about the thyroid gland. But the thyroid gland is part of the endocrine system, right? Of course. Don't let it snow you. The thyroid, the parathyroid, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, the ovaries, they are part of the endocrine system. What could go wrong with the thyroid gland? Inflammation. Caused by what? Thank you. You see? Never get away from the mucus. Once you get away, it confounds things. And you get lost. Because then, for every disease that you find, you would have to find a virus, a germ, and a bacteria to justify it. But when you reduce it to a common denominator, you find that it becomes easy. This is why the judge in the Supreme Court said, asked me, why do you give everyone the same compound? I said, because there's only one disease. That's why I give them that, including the AIDS. But what about the virus? Well, I know nothing about virus, germs, or bacteria. Because I didn't go to school, period. Well, they say that AIDS is the result of a virus. If it's that, then your compound would not be able to address it. Well, it could not be, it must not be that, because these compounds have killed those folks. So AIDS is not the result of a virus. That's never been true. Then I got a call from Mr. Duesberg. Why did I tell the Supreme Court such a thing? I say common sense. How does common sense play in this? I say if AIDS was the result of a virus, our compound would not have been able to address it and reverse it. Say, well, that's common sense. When I'm writing a book, the AIDS hoax, and he has in his book that AIDS is not the result of a virus, and he is America's leading microbiologist. Peter Duesberg from Berkeley, isn't it? I know, right? And he said there's no such thing as a virus. And if he's a microbiologist saying that, then I think you may believe him, because I know it wasn't that. Because we didn't make our compound to cure any disease, yet all of them were cured. It was made to cleanse and to revitalize. And that is what we offer out there, the bioelectron. We got the power pack. We got also the intracellular cleansing package or chelation. That's when you have diabetes, lupus, herpes, sickle cell anemia. That's the package that we send you. That's a therapy with a consultation. But we also have packages you could buy and just run home and take them, and by tomorrow morning you're feeling good. Guaranteed. When you wake up in the morning, you feel it. You feel a big change for the best. So, disease is one, not two. Only one. Don't leave from here with that philosophy in your head that there is two diseases, there's only one. So we offer the package of intracellular cleansing plus to revitalize the system with what? Iron. Iron fluoride. That takes us into the health food store. We have to go and give our brothers and sisters love in there too. Because when they said iron, it is ferrous sulfate. Do we know what sulfate really is? No, we don't. Do we know what oxide is? No, we don't know. Oxide means it's a base mineral. We have to go to the plants. Why the plants? Because the plants convert the solid base mineral into a liquid digestible substance. You know what the scientists call this process? A plant converts that rock into a substance. They call that transfer iontrophoresis. Oh my God, where did they get that word from? Iontrophoresis is the conversion from a solid to a liquid. Only a plant could do that, not a laboratory. Like for instance, sea moss. Sea moss live on top of a rock. Here's a plant that lives on top of a rock, yet it gives you a lot of energy. Where's the power of this plant? But they don't know. Natural plant does these things. God Impossible. So forget about the carrot and the beets and the wheatgrass juice, the aloe vera, and the other one, which is the sunflower seed noni. Cut it out. We're talking about natural fruits. Myself, I live in a country where there are natural fruits. The ikako goes by the ocean. The sea grape goes. Who knows about sea grape in here? That's right, go by the ocean. Gives you fruit once a year. Not the other grapes. You get all kind of crops. And the acid base, not the sea grape. The sea grape is natural. Doesn't need man to grow it. It's a big tree that gives grape every year. Then you have the ikako. That's an iodized fruit. Then you have the kamakama. Then you have the natural mangoes. That you don't get in Chicago. Those mangoes you buy, they are hybrids. That is why we need these boats. These are refrigerated boats. These boats would bring our stuff to Chicago, to Miami, and from Miami we bring it on a truck to Chicago and to other points. But we need these boats to bring these things. But we don't have those things now because that was not the interest of, I suppose, of our so-called leaders. I don't know what they were doing or what they're thinking about even now. Because a race of people, an ethnic group, doesn't need to march. We need food, clothing, and shelter. That's all we need. And once we get the right food, you won't need the leader. Because, like I said, gorillas have no leaders. Yeah, we went to school, we need leaders. Something is up, something is wrong. I think that's enough for today. I really do.
No.
Now we come to the best part, which opens up a whole lot of neurons. We come to the field of question and answer. First question. Yes, sir.
Some of the things that you were mentioning, you said they have iodine in them.
The herb that I mentioned?
Some of
Natural iodine, yes. That's the bladderwrack. That is the one that I hope, when we all leave from here this evening, you go to the health food stores and buy yourself just an ounce of bladderwrack and an ounce of sea moss. Begin by bladderwrack. B-L-A-D-D-E-R. B-L-A-D-D-E-R-W-R-A-C-K. Bladderwrack. You buy an ounce of bladderwrack and an ounce of sea moss. But you have to be careful with the sea moss because they make it an artificial sea moss. Like they make artificial plants and artificial birds, artificial horses. Because a horse is artificial. Don't even compare him with a zebra. A jackass is hybrid too. He's another artificial one. So you have an ounce of bladderwrack and an ounce of sea moss. Now you cook the sea moss in a pint and a half of distilled water. And you boil it, I said, for 20 minutes. Or 10 minutes, the bladderwrack for 20, in the same amount of water. And then you put the sea moss in the blender, you blend it up. Then you have some maple syrup. And you sweeten it with a little bit of nutmeg, some vanilla. Then you put the bladderwrack in there. You combine them in the blender with nutmeg, vanilla, and the maple syrup. You're going to have a porridge that you're going to be proud of me and yourself for making it and feeling good. Yes, they contain iodide, bromides, they contain all of the salts. Yes, sir.
Okay, the reason why I was asking is because if you're allergic to iodine, is that going to cause it?
Oh, if you're allergic to iodine, this is why you need it. Because the iodine that you're allergic to is that artificial inorganic iodine. The body's never allergic to something natural. Never. It is impossible. It says that God made something that you're allergic to. Then what's up, God? What man made is what we're allergic to. Way in the back.
You mentioned something about the sweet potato. The sweet potato and the yam, are they the same thing?
The sweet potato and the yam is the same thing. They both have nitrogen. They both are tuberous. And they both were made. That's why they contain so much starch. Remember, there is a measure that we could use to identify and separate that which is natural from unnatural. Starch. Anything that contains starch is unnatural. God did not make anything with starch. And sweet potato, loaded. Loaded. No good. Yes, sir. Then, ma'am.
I'm wondering about the products. So when I say that, what you say, since we've been sitting here, seems to be very logical, makes a lot of sense. One of the things you said, I didn't want to misquote you, so when you said I wrote it down, is that man cannot put anything together that is consistent with man's biological structure.
Right.
But it seems that these are products that you put together, and I'm sure you have a good explanation for it.
No, I didn't put those products together. I combined what nature made. I didn't make the product. If man were to go to nature and get what nature made, don't process it. But nature is so strong that if you take a piece of burdock plant, the root, and you boil it, you put it under an electron microscope, you will see electrons flying around. If you take it and you grind it, no, you burn it to an ash, and you grind it to the powder, and you put it under the microscope, electrons are flying around. That is because energy never dies. It changes form. Besides, when it goes back into the soil, it better be alive for it to biodegrade. That planet, that soil, does not accept anything unless it is natural and it is alive. This is why when you make a bag out of plastic, it will never biodegrade. But if it's made from a tree, paper, it biodegrades because it is alive. So, when you ask me the question, how could I answer? Because the question was asked, man cannot titrate anything and make it compatible with our biological structure. That is true. We didn't make this. We just brought them together. But we didn't make anything. So yes, you're right. The question is apropos. But I didn't make anything. I just bring them together without touching me, like my house. I built a house, and I built the village that you find on that brochure. That village and my house is made of mud. It's mud. I saw it made of mud bricks. And how do you make a mud brick? You take the mud with some grass and some water. Well, they live always together. You have not changed anything. That house will last forever. At least 500 to 600 years, not a brick. A brick is artificial. It was made by a chemical that man made, not that mud brick. But we don't know how to work with mud. In fact, in Africa, where they should be making mud brick, they make it concrete bricks. That thing falls down. Yes, ma'am. Oh, wait, we have another one.
And just want to know also, do you produce or publish a cookbook full of the foods that we should be eating?
Yes. My wife and her friends has been putting together a cookbook, but they have also a pamphlet that is given to each person that comes for therapy. But for sale, I don't know if they have one yet. But another thing, you know that we were, litigated and set back some years because of trying to recuperate again. And it's only been my wife and I, just her and I. And that's kind of rough. I said, if we all come in and help Dembele, then it could be accelerated. And we are looking for sisters who would like to be trained to do what I did today, to deliver a message and to also carry out the practice of the African biomineral balance. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong message. There is the yin-yang, which is Chinese. There is the macrobiotic, which is Japanese. There is the Ayurvedic, which is Indian. Well, when I hear about all of these various entities, I heard also about the homeopathy and I heard about the allopathic, but I didn't hear my mama. My mama has not been represented here. Then I said, well, since nobody has talked about our mother, well, let me take the effort into doing so. The African biomineral balance. That is a balance that not only serve black people, it has cured Arabs, Chinese, Eskimos, and everybody else, whites. But naturally, after all, we black people, we have always complimented everyone. You see, we don't even hate anybody, you know that. Right. We're just angry because the food that we're eating is making us angry. Remember what we said, that when the slave buyers came, how submissive we were? If you go to the forest right now in Brazil, you find the same people very humble. And the Canadians are killing them. Bounty hunters to take the Amazon. Didn't only happen to us, you know. Industry's taking over. It doesn't matter. But the food has a lot to do with our behavior. That's important. Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to ask you about a high fiber, diet.
A high fiber diet.
And like the Metamucil, I've been taking like 40 years. I have this bleeding, and the doctors want me on iron, but I can't tolerate the iron. It constipates me, and they say I have to take harsh laxative every day. I just came out the hospital with 4 transfusions last week, and I can't take this Metamucil, so it's nothing they can do for me anymore.
A high fiber diet, and she's been bleeding. She's been taking it for 40 years, and the sister is sick.
Yeah.
She needed a blood transfusion. They recommended iron. But I am more than sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that the iron that was offered to the young lady was ferrous sulfate.
That's right.
It was not iron fluorine. I guarantee you that I could give you an iron that would, instead of constipating you, it would precipitate bowel movement and nourish you and give you energy. That is guaranteed. You know, in Los Angeles, there is a station that is owned by Stevie Wonder. And every time I go there, KJLH, as you all know, I'm always invited. And this station look like you guys are the same as KJLH, because you guys are a family of what it is? You know, that should not be taken lightly, because you all give that station your ear. And you hear various lecturers talk about various things, but you are able to decipher within all that which is heard the things that make sense.
Right.
Well, KJLH has a family just like you, VON. That family now is coming together, just like you came together this evening, to create their center. So I told them, which is Sister Ibuan and Tatanisha, who is heading the Bembley project, including this sister here, Sister Renee. They are now finding a place. They found a place. It's just a matter of finding a place, and then we gather there, we disseminate, we do a curing, herbal baths, the cooking, the vegetarian diet, find how to cook food a new way. We also have all of the other things that are necessary. We have a natural coffee. We have 3 malls. We have many things to share with you, but 2 people can't do it by themselves, isn't it? We need you more than you need us. We came with a little piece of the puzzle, but you are the larger part of the puzzle. There it is. Bembley. There it is. There's the project. So I need you more than you need me. So it tells that we are interdependent, we are interconnected, and we could love again, you know, right? Right. Next question. Yes, ma'am. Way back there.
I want to know what you mean by asthma.
Asthma, when I was in asthma box, they call us, because you wheezed in the chest all the time. We said that every disease is the result of mucus. Right? That's right. It is the result of mucus. So the bronchial tubes are obstructed with mucus. They give us epinephrine, they give us adrenaline, but what these things does is to open the bronchial tube so you can breathe. But the bronchial tube want to come back to its normal size, but it's clogged with mucus. and you start grasping again, and you open them again, and you close them again, and you open them again, and they close again, you open them, and one time when you open them and close them too often, you have weakened the membranes. And one day they drop and they can't come back because the elastic fiber has given out with the chemicals that you've been using. I've had an asthmatic lady to come to me in New York. Dr. Sebi, I know you're going to cure me because you have cured so many asthmatic people. And she fell right in front of me and she was dead. The ambulance came up to 616 Pacific Street to remove her, her sister, that died. Asthma is nothing to play with. Asthma is the result of too much mucus in the system. So we have to drain it out. And one of the quickest ways to drain the body out, you know, yesterday we had one of the most beautifulest lady, one of the oldest lady in healing, I think, in the United States, in modern healing, Miss Albina Fulton. And I owe her, like I owe many other brothers and sisters that came long before me, a respect. And also, they deserve from me whatever I could give another person that has helped me to climb to this level where I'm at. And I hope that in the audience, there's some of you that will take it to a higher height, and then to another height. And then one day, we'll reach that level we call perfection, right? But to feel that because Dr. Sebi and the Usha research has cured sickle cell and the rest, that he knows everything about healing, you're wrong. I don't. And I would not take that position. But we have cured diabetes, many, many cases, and many things. But it still needs more research. So definitely expect to train any of you who wants to join the Dembele group. We have no money to offer you, but you can see the potential, the growth. We want to go to Africa. Because they have our brothers in Africa, you think that you're eating bad? No, you don't. You got to go to Africa. At least here we have brothers and sisters that are vegetarians. But you don't find that in Africa. They eat starch and meat. That's how they eat cassava. They call it gari. So they need us to help them. And we need them to help us in other areas. It's always a win-win. Next question? Yes, then the brother. Yes, ma'am. Who was it? The asthma, I said it was mucus. That need to, where we cured by cleansing out the mucus from the system. That is what we offer, an intracellular cleansing. Cleansing not only the mucus from the bronchial tube, what about the lungs? What about the trachea? And what about the intestines where it all began? But we have to put together a comprehensive cleansing program, a chelation, a natural chelation. Many of the compounds that are designed to cleanse, they have some very harmful plants in them that breaks the mucous membrane in the intestines likewise. Most of them have aloe vera, but ours is free of that. We have a plant that you may have heard mentioned in the Bible, the Gilead balm. Jesus talked about the balm of Gilead. Well, of course, we get that plant. We get it from Mexico and we get it from Asia. And it does wonders overnight. That's why Jesus talked about it. So, I'm not the owner of healing on the earth. In fact, you don't drink me. So I'm not really the healer. The plant does the healing. Way in the back. There was someone here first. Yes, it was her.
Oh, could you explain some more about wheatgrass?
Wheatgrass juice. Remember what we said. If nature didn't make it, don't take it. Don't take it if nature didn't make it. Did nature make wheat? No. Does wheat have starch? Yes. And what about sugar? Yes. Totals into what? Acid. So when you take this wheatgrass juice with pride, and I used to grow wheatgrass in California. I had my garage with trays of wheatgrass. Hey fellas, look at me. Yeah. This is my plantation. Come indulge. Indulge in what? In poison. That's what I was offering. But I too was learning. So I stopped reading those stupid books. And I went straight to nature. And there was the answer. What happened with wheatgrass? I was in New York, right? When it finally hit me, boy, you're dumb. You are really dumb. You eat this wheatgrass that was made by man, thinking that you're going to derive from it some satisfaction. So, you're wise enough. Guess what I found? Amaranth. Amaranth is a natural herb, a natural plant that produces flowers. So when I found the amaranth, I said, yeah, I'm going to sprout my amaranth. And the amaranth gave up its seed because it's natural in the fall. Just like the burdock plant gives up its seed in the fall. So I went around Brooklyn and I collected a whole bunch of amaranth. It grows here in Chicago too. So I collected my seeds, I put them on my tray, I spread them with the water, and I waited. They ain't sprout yet. The wheatgrass sprouted in 3 weeks. Tall. Amaranths have to sprout. This stupid plant. So I go back, I watered them. What did I do wrong? So one night I went to bed. It was about now December. The amaranths talked back to me in my bed. Boy, you need to grow up some more. You compared me with the wheatgrass. You made another mistake. I'm natural. I'm gonna sprout, but you're gonna wait for this. I'm gonna sprout in the spring. And I started laughing. I said, oh God, I slipped again. I wanted the amaranth, which is natural, to sprout at the same time the wheat sprout in 3 weeks. No way. I sprout with the season of the planet, not at the will of man. Way back, the sister. Yes, with the hand up, and then the brother.
Dr. Sebi, I am living witness. Remember, I fed my children your diet and got penalized by the Department of Children and Family Services Board. I wanted to let you know, since the last time they saw you, your problems with mental illness and attention deficit cleared up just from the diet. As a result, though, of DCFS taking them and feeding them something they had never had. They had never had meat. They had never had carrots because I had never given it to them because I met you before I started feeding you. Remember, I breastfed them. We weren't drinking tap water. Well, they had all of that now. Both of them are ill, mental ill, well, with the exception of my son because he ran from them. He's in high. He refused to go back. He's 15. For those of you who don't know, Department of Children and Family Services investigated the diet that Dr. Sebi recommended. They agreed to pay for the compounds and didn't. The compounds work. They know they work because they saw them. When I was a nutritionist, I recommended them to my clients. They know they work, but they didn't want this released to the public because they would not have most of the children in the group homes and the mental institutions that they have, and I fought them. But I just wanted to let you know, sores returned, their whole pH changed, their whole disposition. And my son became a very angry young man as a result. So I wanted to let you know. They didn't have wheat, they started eating the wheat excessive, and it happened. But I wanted to tell you, I'm having a job fair. If Boucher wants to set up a table to recruit people for Dimbleby, you're welcome. This Saturday, and I'd love
Thank
to
you.
details with your office.
Thank you so very much. Let me say this. ADD is a disease that could be treated nutritionally. Remember what we asked the Supreme Court. Did you bring the food of the Africans with them when you brought them from Africa? The answer was no. Well, if they didn't bring our food with us, what are they feeding us? What are they feeding us? Garbage. Garbage in? Thank you very much. So you see why our children are angry? I have a son that's 17. I have a daughter out there that's 22. My son wash, iron his clothes, and he's home every day. His girlfriend said, Sister, I want to go to a party. Sister said, I don't go to parties. You go, and you have fun. I'm going home. I can find something to do. Straight up. Why is he like that? He's obedient to his mother and to me. He washes his clothes. They all could be like that. But Sister, like her children, didn't have the garbage, the counts and the beats and the... No, he doesn't have that. The girl that you see in front, Usha, that's my daughter. She's pregnant. She called me a month ago. Dad, I have something to tell you. I said, yes, I'm pregnant. She said, well, happy childbirth. She said, you're not going to say anything? I said, why should I say anything? Well, you know, most fathers always get angry when their daughter gets pregnant. I said, how old are you, Usha? I'm 22. I said, well, my mama had me when she was 18. So, you're late, 4 years. But I'm glad I was your grandfather. Easy. The fool does that. She's bold. She tells me anything. Usha tells me anything. Because she knows she doesn't have a father to be afraid of. I'm not her owner. My son, he doesn't have to do what he's doing, but he does it anyway because we live in that peaceful world. And it's nice. Yes. Then you, brother. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had any information concerning the dandelion that grows everywhere, as well as the plantain plant that grows.
Well, they both are natural. That's correct. They both are natural. Plantain is good for your eyes. The dandelion is good for magnesium. They are good. Yes, they're good. The one with the little yellow flower? That's correct. You also have in Chicago the shepherd purse, which was a plant that Rasputin used with the Tsar, the last of the Smirnoff, you know, for hemophilia, because it stops bleeding. It's hemostatic. It grows in Chicago. So if we put together a family of folks, I mean, there are a bunch of us here today. I didn't expect to see all you guys here. Believe me, I didn't. But you guys really responded. So I'm taking this opportunity to say, if we maintain this family by calling these numbers, this number here, the address is 8549 Stony Island. We will hope that we come together because what you heard today is but a surface of what there is to know. Because there are other areas, the zone that bothers the body, the spirit, the soul, the mind, they say. Well, in our next lecture, we would talk about those three areas and how they affect us. Wait, ma'am, I have to go to this man over here. Then you. Yes, sir.
How you doing, Dr. Sebi?
Yes, sir.
Enjoy you. On March 28th, I was diagnosed with optic neuritis.
Yes, sir.
From
optic neuritis.
They say it's from multiple sclerosis. They say it's from MS. And at that particular time, I did exactly what you said. I played right into the devil's hands in terms of I freaked out and I forgot about the herbs, are for the healing. So I went to a neurologist who immediately put me on prednisone. And what I'd like to share with people is that this drug is a steroid. It's being prescribed for everything. I mean, if you got a toe ache, they prescribe you prednisone. And one of the side effects of prednisone is that it causes cataracts and glaucoma. I go back to the doctor. I say, why would you give me something for an eye that has totally shut down? I mean, my right eye, I can't see out of it at all. I said, why would you give me something for an eye that would cause cataracts and glaucoma? He never gave me any answer. Also, I asked him how much did diet and nutrition play into MS and other diseases. He informed me that as a neurologist, they're only required to take 8 hours of nutrition. So I would prescribe, in addition to everything that you said here, that everybody should get a copy of this book here, Prescription Drugs, and learn about the side effects of these drugs that you're about to use before you use them. The side effects are just deadly. I mean, this can induce diabetes, the prednisone, cataracts, glaucoma, and this is what they gave me to treat my eye. So I'm coming to you today. I want to find out what can I do in the short term in terms of, you know, the compounds that you may have today, and then I want to come and visit, you know, your retreat as well to do something to totally cleanse my body and heal my body, because I really totally, I mean, I feel your spirit and I believe everything that you say.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. In response to the question, I think of Miss Margaret Orange in St. Croix. Her retina was detached, and her eye was bleeding in the chamber, and that you could consider to be one of the worst eye conditions you could be faced with. Her optic nerve attached itself again. The doctor said, but how could this be when you have to open the chamber to go in and bring it together? No. Remember what we said about affinity? Chemical affinity. Nerves meet their own kind, and they unite, but you have to remove the acid that prevents them from uniting sometimes. Teddy Pendergrass is an example. He was operating at C4. You talk to Teddy from his right, from his left. After 3 months of treatment, his wife called me and said, Gene said, you know, he's urinating by himself. He's using the bathroom by himself. His penis is getting hard. Everything is nice. Teddy called me one day and said he was angry because the bottom of his feet was paining him, hurting him tremendously. But he gave the Russians and the people in Philadelphia in total $550,000, and they didn't guarantee any cure. So I said to him, you know what you're going to do? When I have everything moving from your head to your waist, that's half the journey. I want half my money that you gave those other big entities. So when he was moving everything, and he was feeling good, losing weight, the boy went back to singing again. He told me, I'm paying you. I said, thank you. I said, but you never walk. I guarantee nobody is going to make you walk. I help you to walk. He didn't pay me. But the doctor said that the only way that he could remove all those other muscles was through cell regeneration. Well, cell regeneration is not something that could be, so it's far-fetched, that can't be attainable. Of course it is. Then you have this Jewish lady by the name of Marcia Caspi. She came with 1,000 disease, and she made a mistake. She put monies in my name, in the bank, properties and stuff. She was so grateful. Her son and her daughter that were doctors put her in an insane asylum, and that's where she's right now.
I have two questions, if I may. I suffer with a lot of mucus in my sinus and bronchitis, but no dairy products generate mucus. What other products cause mucus?
Starches, dairy, and meat. Meat causes mucus. Definitely. In fact, remember, I was impotent now. Here's a young man, 28 years of age, impotent. Could you beat that? Where they tell him not to eat meat, that his virility would come back. You think I didn't jump on it? I did, and I have not eaten meat in 34 years. Yeah. I have to talk about one of the greatest meat eaters right now. His name is C.C. Charles. C.C. Charles is from Aruba. Anybody been to Aruba?
Yeah.
Okay. You know a place in Aruba by the name of St. Nicholas. That's where the black people live. Oranjestad is where the big business. So he lived in St. Nicholas. And C.C. Charles had mucus just like you, had diabetes. Pressure was high. He lived in a house that was long. A long house, had rooms on each side. He lived in the first room. So when I would go to see him, I would visit only this first room and go back. After 3 months of treatment, C.C. Charles told me, Dr. Sebi, I want you to do me a favor. You see that window way, that door way in the back? I said, yes, sir. I want you to go knock on it and tell that woman that I love her. I'll see, I'm not going to do that. That's your job. I said, you did something wrong. You gonna do this one by yourself. He said, just go together. You're not gonna do it, I'm going with you. I said, fine. So I knocked on the door. When the woman opened the door, she opened, it was a door that had two, divided. You could open the top and also the bottom. Yeah. So she opened the top. When she opened the top, he's standing here. She could only see me. She said, you're the herbalist that come to see Charles. Oh, I want you to know that he's doing good. He's singing, he works in the garden, and he looks good. I said, thank you, ma'am. I said, but he came with me to tell you something. Charles? I said, yes, ma'am. Where's Charles? I said, he's standing behind the window. So she opened the other half, and she come out and she said, oh, Charles. You want to talk to me? After 16 years? Now, look now. This man lived with his wife in the same house for 16 years and didn't speak to her. And he hated her. The man had to. That's not the first case of a kind. Honduras, Muldig. He's another one. Hated his daddy, his mom, and his wife. Hated him. And he was right and had a right to hate him. And so did C.C. Charles. He had a right to hate his wife. But nobody saw it. Why he hated his wife. Why, when she caught him, he said, I came to tell you that I love you. And she said, Charles, I always loved you. It was you. And she walked up to her husband and hugged him, and he started crying. Because the mucus that had him with diabetes, that had him impotent, had invaded his brain and short-circuited the message, and he hated his wife. Did he really hate her? No, he was sick. That's why when you leave from here today, if nothing I shared with you today, when you leave out those doors and somebody come and call you a funky name, like if it's a woman, call her a whore, you just look at that person and don't let a nerve in you move, because if it did, you've already got yourself in trouble. You ask the young person, you ask them, you know, you have identified me as a whore, and I don't think that's a comfortable place. How could you help me not be that? That's easy. That makes it easy. You don't respond to that, because if you respond, then we are sick at the person that used that word. We're equally sick. We agree. The man in the radio that said that I was crazy, the Sunday when I gave the speech, I was talking about it. And I said, I hope that that man would see me one day. The man was in the audience. He raised his hand. I said, come on up here. Why did you say that I was everything but knowledgeable of the entity? He said, well, I have to say it, because so many of you come selling garbage, but you would stun the litmus test. I have diabetes, and I want you to cure me. You see? Suppose when he responded that way on the radio, that I had taken the position that he took. We were never met. But I submitted. Everybody's right. Everybody's always right. I don't know where we get this wrong stuff from. Because you don't want to be identified as wrong. What do you mean I'm wrong? How could I be wrong? Maybe the information I bring is wrong, but not me. I'm sure you can't think it's wrong. That's what we did today. We challenged the information. I wasn't challenging you. I can't challenge you, because I'm you standing here. Yes, ma'am.
What is your opinion on animals? Is it the same as colonics?
Animals are bad. Colonics are worse. You're going against the grain. You're going against the grain. You can't do that and get away with it. How do you do that? I mean, that is dangerous. That's very dangerous. That is out. Here it is. digestive system. Up here in our big head, we have what's called the mucous membrane. Microbes goes in there and they die in the mucous bed. But if they are too large, they will die in the hydrochloric acid chamber in the stomach. Hydrochloric acid is in there to take care of any microbes, die right there, before they enter the small intestines. Because they enter here, they're going to play havoc on you. So you have two safety zones, in the mouth and in the stomach. But now, remember, these safety zones is to prevent microbes from going in here and here. But when you get a colonic, is that water purified? So when they push that water up your colon, and they pushing with it microbe that has invaded that water, don't you know that this glass of water already have 1,000 microbes in it? And I'm going to put that up your colon. Am I not creating a colony in here in you? Am I not pushing water against your appendix? The obstruction doesn't necessarily have to be in the large intestine. But right here, you have a valve, known the sickle, right? Or the ileocecal valve. Well, it doesn't allow anything to go in the small intestine because you're dead. That's anatoxemia. So the obstruction is in the small intestine. How is colonic going to get to the major part of the toxins? Well, the German that invaded that was sick. He was drunk, intoxicated. The boy was out. He lost it. No, it's no good. Doesn't heal anything. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Dr. Sebi, first, thank you very much for bringing this knowledge for free to me today. But I like to eat. I really love to eat, and I try to eat. I try to eat right. You know, I try to eat natural. And I don't eat any meat, and I'm trying to lose weight. So you named only 3 things that we could eat. I would just like to know if you have some pamphlets with a list of things that we could eat.
Up front. Furthermore, the number you could call, we would be delighted to help you to cross that threshold because someone had patience with me. Someone has to have patience with me because I only weigh 148 pounds opposed to 291. I don't have the waistline of this 40 and 38. I don't have that. So someone had patience with me. She needs the love that we talk about. Don't she need it now?
Yes, sir.
Of course she needs it. And we have to give it to her. Especially me. I have to show her how to cross that threshold. Because it is the weight that brings the disease. It is the weight, the accumulation of fluids. We drown in our fluids. We can't breathe. It's all fluid, mucus. Yes, ma'am. We're going to help you. Yes, ma'am.
What about alfalfa and noni?
Tell you about noni and brother. Noni and alfalfa. How many crops of alfalfa could you get in 1 month?
3 or 4.
Many.
Many, right? Well, God's product, you only get 1 a year. So what about alfalfa? All natural.
Soybean.
Soybean?
Oh,
Who asked you about soybean? Soybean was used to make plastics by George Washington Carver. Soybean is what you plant in the ground to return nitrogen. Anybody knows about farming here?
yeah.
Don't you plant nitrogen, don't you plant soybean to replace the nitrogen in the soil after you plant a crop? Well, what you do with nitrogen in your stomach?
Fertilizer.
Thank you very much.
Get the land back up.
Thank you. With, which one? Soybean milk. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that a little boy, 9 months of age, came with his mother that danced with the Alvin Ailey dancers in New York? She had a little bit of weight on her and she wanted to lose it. But she came with her baby, which was 9 months. But every morning, this baby's crying. And you can hear, you know, the rattling on his chest. Well, my little girl was only 9 months too. You know, Salma. So, Salma said, baby crying. I said, yes, Salma. But Salma doesn't cry. She never cried. So I said, let me go over there and see why this baby's crying. I asked the mother, what are you feeding your child? Oh, well, look, I feed my child nothing but vegetable and vegetable milk. What is the vegetable milk that you're feeding your child, ma'am? Oh, she didn't say soy milk. She said soy milk. I said, man, for God's sake, don't give that to your child. I said, I don't give that to Sama. And what do you give Sama? I said, I give her sea moss and the bladder rag. Mix, I make a porridge. Oh, and she loves this stuff. Oh, God, she don't want to give it up. And it's delicious. Wait till you try it. You're going to do it every day. You're going to do it twice a day, 3 times a day. And the energy you get from it, oh, gosh, you're going to go crazy with it. So the mother changed the diet, and 2 days later, the child was just as nice and calm, never cried again. But that's soy milk. Why soy? Because soy contains inorganic silica. It tears up stuff in you, and it has a high complex starch. It's going to clog you up. I should know about soy. I used to take tofu and cut it up, put onions and tomatoes, put some cumin in it, you know what I mean? And some herbal mayo and some onions. And I thought I had me a nice crumb of stuff here with my tortillas. I paused myself. I couldn't urinate one day. You don't take that. And those of us that sell soy, we should help them. The restaurants, you know, help them. And show them where we could replace the soy with mushrooms. You grind the mushrooms up. You grind them up. And you add the sea moss, the mucilage, in it. And you add some quinoa flour. You add some onions. And you season it with some cumin and some Cajun spice if you want to. And you season it well. And you make a dough. And you bake it. That's the chemistry that you need to learn. That's the chemistry that I had to learn. And when you cut that loaf, oh, you got a delicious plate here. With that, you could have some lettuce and tomato salad, and whatever salad you want. With that, you could also have the steamed greens, some broccoli, or some, you know, the other one, the long one, which we call the what there? No, you don't. Asparagus. You don't put celery in your mouth. No celery. No. How I learned about celery was in my 2nd year of lending myself to you as a healer in St. Croix. This man had diabetes and his pressure was high. And the man kept coming back and saying, man, you told me to drink vegetable juice and I'm doing just that. But my joint and my ankles are swollen, they're swelling more, Dr. Sebi. What was the man doing? Celery juice. When the what? Oh, the greatest amount of inorganic salt you find in celery. You don't put that boy in your mouth. You know, all these questions, these people don't want to give up. Yes. Yes. And what's doing it? Lemon. She asked about the lemon being good for mucus. Is lemon natural? No. Lime is natural. Not lemon. The young man.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about eliminating garlic. Is it on your family?
The garlic. Garlic is where we get into trouble again with those of us who believe in Egypt. You see, the Egyptian had to eat hybrid plants because it never rained in Egypt. It cannot rain in Egypt. It's impossible for it to rain in Egypt. If you get a person from Egypt that's 80 years of age who live in that desert, and I get someone 80 years of age from Louisiana that live in the swamps, who do you think look better? The one that came out of the swamps. Why? Because there is humidity. Egypt has no humidity. It's dry. So it robs you of your moisture. So the Egyptian had to bring the Nile down. You see, the Nile is not a river, incidentally. So don't even go there either. Dr. Sebi, that is one of our famous rivers. No, it's not. It doesn't have a riverbed. All natural rivers have a bed. The Nile has no bed. The Nile is a canal that was brought down to the desert that they could take it and grow the food in that sand. So the Egyptian had to eat hybrid plants because today, as we speak, nothing in Egypt grows that is natural right now. You don't go to Egypt and find anything natural. Everything that grows in Egypt is unnatural. So now, they begin the process of hybridization in Egypt. Garlic was made there. But garlic has a problem. This is the problem. That's the problem with garlic. Oxide of allium. It would tear your membranes. I use garlic. Why? I was asthmatic. What do you give an asthmatic child? Garlic and honey. But honey is actually is another poison. Honey is deadly because the bee that made that honey was made also. So his honey is acid. Don't take my word for it. One of our greatest musicians that I love so very much, and I know you love him too. He used to play Jitterbug Waltz, fast water tune, on a bass clarinet. Who was that? Eric Dolphy. Eric Dolphy used to drink 4 ounces of honey a day. If it was natural honey, I have some natural honey, but it's made from a little fly. A little fly. And he makes his hive in the ground or in the crevices of trees. But that bee that goes in this box, he's been trained, he's been made, he's been programmed, and he eats sugar to make honey. They feed him sugar. Not this to the fly, he don't eat any sugar, he eats the nectar from the natural plants. So the honey that you get a year is only a little bit, like a gallon a year you can find all through Honduras. The people will go and collect the honey from me, and I will pay them 5 times the amount that the other people would pay them, so I bless the honey. But I don't care how much it costs, this is natural. This honey is natural. This honey is the one that really gives you energy. Dorothy didn't know that. Dorothy saw honey, and he died with a sugar attack in Germany. They thought he was on drugs, and he was not on drugs. So, sir,
Differentiate between the two.
remember, anything that God made is what? Alkaline. And anything that man made is what? Acid. Give that honey. Go to your health food store tomorrow and give it an acid test. And you're going to see it's very acid.
But where is the original honey? Where did it? Is it here?
That is why we put that $200 million project up here. That we could bring the stuff to us now. Because we're beginning to learn that there's something other than that they gave us. Of course we could do it. We went to Washington. We could buy 10 boats to go all over the world to bring the natural honey for us because we want the natural stuff. Yes, then you, 1 second. This is the where is she? Yes, there she is.
I just want to know, do you know what causes keloids, like the skin tags, and if you do, can you tell me how my son has keloids, and he was born with them, and I had them cut off twice and grew back larger. Can you tell me what
You know something? The only person that I know could talk about keloids is my wife. She had loads of keloids.
Okay.
So she put a bunch of stuff that she made up, sassafras oil and some other things. Please talk to her. She could tell you all about keloids. Yes, wait, it was over here. Wait. Figs. Figs are artificial. Dates are natural. Figs are artificial, so don't even do that.
Did you say dates were natural?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Fasting. The question is fasting beneficial? Fasting is the quickest and the safest way most effective way in healing. Fasting. But when we use the word fasting, it only means that we stop eating the garbage, right? That's all it means. Stop eating the garbage. Don't call it fasting. Stop eating the garbage. So what we're going to eat? That's why I gave you the porridge to begin with and some salad. If you just ate salad and the porridge, you can live forever. And you're going to be strong. You're going to have a lot of energy. Your eyes is going to clear up. Your eyes is going to get bright again. Everything. Your prostate gland, you're going to urinate straight. I remember when I was urinating straight. I had problems. I was urinating on my pants. But as soon as I started fasting, remember, my healer put me on a 90 days fast. I didn't eat anything for 94 days. But at the ending of 57th day, everything that I wanted off had left. And everything that I wanted to happen was happening better than any other time in my life. Fasting is the best way. But we're not going to deprive the body of food. So that porridge, if you drink that porridge 3 times a day, you would forget about eating. The supermarket's going to have problems. Fasting, sister, right, is the best way. Eat nothing. Drink a lot of water. 10 glasses a day.
Salad. What about the salad?
Well, you know, for the salad, you could take your tomatoes, your onions, your bell pepper, and your cucumbers, your lettuce, mushrooms too. And then you buy the Paul Newman dressing because it doesn't have any preservative and a whole bunch of other stuff. Or else you could make the salad dressing with some olive oil, some lime juice, and you could put some oregano and some dill in it, and you make a delicious salad dressing. You pour it over your salad. I do that every day. In fact, I cook more than my wife. Yes, sir.
On that very dark, he had a big hickey on his head.
Yes, he had a big hickey there for years.
Was that due to the honey?
It was due to the honey. That honey accumulates in you. Yes, sir. The cameraman, you got to ask a question.
Thank you, sir. A fellow by the name of Ross. You remember Ross back at the warehouse in D.C.?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was where I gave my first American lecture at the warehouse on 2010 Kendall Street, Northeast.
He sends you his greetings, and I have his telephone number.
Ross!
Yes, he wants to talk to you.
Well, I need to talk to Ross.
I got his number.
Because that was the first, that lady that invited me to come to the United States, when she came to me and said, you got to go to the United States, I said, for what? She said, because they need healers. I said, they already have thousands. I'm going to add to the pot. She said, they need healers. Her name, Adi Okuumba, and it was Brother Adisa. And incidentally, brothers and sisters, it was a tragic end to the warehouse. It was one of the most beautiful environments that I've ever been in, as black people coming together, or people, period, because everybody came there, white, black, Chinese, and everybody came there, because they sell the food cheaper than any other health store. But Adisa invited me to come to Washington to give the speech, him and his wife, and they had music, and sisters with these beautiful dresses were dancing. Oh, it was like I was in heaven. So Adisa was going to Jamaica periodically. I say, Adisa, when you go to Jamaica, do me a favor, don't you ever eat ackee. Ackee is a fruit that contains cyanide. Ackee was made in England. The same people that made ackee made the cashew. And if you look, if any one of you all know the ackee tree, it looks just like the cashew. But the ackee is supposed to be a natural vegetable egg. I say that stuff was made in England, don't eat it. Guess what happened? He went over there with his 2 wives, and he went there with a friend named Ulumba. And you know something? I told Adisa that he was going to meet his wife, and I told her, you will meet a man named Adisa and you will like him. And guess what? They met. She was from Virginia. And they met. She came with her brother Ulumba. They went to Jamaica. They ate the ackee. The man that ate the ackee died. The woman that ate the ackee only had a slight tummy ache. Adisa died in Jamaica, eating the ackee.
Oh,
That tells us that the female, the feminine gender, Your biological structure protects you more than it protects us because they eat Aki the same amount. They only get a tummy ache. The men die.
Wow.
Aki, don't ever eat that stuff.
He sends his greetings, and I had occasion to try the sea moss and the bladder.
The bladder rat.
It is like eating nothing else. You want to drink the whole thing and just
keep on drinking, and as you feel your toes buzzing, and your body come back to life, say, well, how was I living all these years and not know about this? Well, yes, we did.
The other question I wanted to ask you, though, since we have some individuals that have had implants or have transplants, and they have to take certain suppressive drugs to keep their immune system down so that the body doesn't reject those organs. How does your products deal with those individuals? Is there any contraindication?
We have had many people that have transplant.
Okay.
From the fetus to the heart to everything. We have had people transplant. And it doesn't interfere. It adds to the system. It brings the system back into balance. Yes, ma'am.
Do your products help cancer?
We have had many forms of cancer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you we have cured everybody with cancer, but we have cured lung cancer, cancer of the uterus, cancer of the prostate. In fact, we have a tape that you could buy where a young man from New York by the name of Professor Simmons. Someone know Professor Simmons in New York? You do?
No.
Oh. Who knows Professor Simmons? He's a young man that is, he worked many years with Professor Joseph Ben Jokanan. And he had prostate cancer. He also had a bunch of other things. And he took the liberty to talk about it on the stage. He no longer had the prostate cancer, nor the diabetes, and his hair was growing back. And he said that he had possibly AIDS, they said. No longer have anything. So yes, we don't make any remedies. Remember what we said. We don't make any remedies to cure any disease. We make remedies to cleanse the system and to revitalize the cell so that we could accomplish what is known as cell proliferation, the building back of new cells. In other words, the body renew itself. I don't do that. It does that itself. And in cleansing the body and helping to rebuild it with the ions of electricity, there goes all disease. And ladies and gentlemen, I think I have my last question, the sister over here. Yes.
I'd like to know if you have had like kidney failure and you're on dialysis or something, do you have something you can treat for that, or is that like a lost cause?
It's not a lost cause. It's never a lost cause. Raghunanda, Richard Ritchie, was off the dialysis. Raghunanda passed because his religion asked him to eat certain things that he could not leave. Raghunanda, what religion is that? Hindu. That's right. Raghu was a Hindu. Yet he was black. I say, Raghu, how could you abandon the diet of your mother for that of another? I don't know, but you did it. I'm going to tell you something right now. The Indian people eat ghee. What is ghee? Clarified butter. And clarified butter does only one thing in your body. Obstruct your kidneys. Tear them up. 38% of world dialysis incidents are Indian. From India. Anywhere you go, Indians are the majority of that machine because they eat ghee. But the religion say to eat it. So, Raghu was off the dialysis for 2 months, doing good. He used to come by and praise me with a lot of folks. I say, hey fella, don't you slip. Don't you slip. He went back to the, now remember, his body now is cleansed. Imagine eating a bunch of food with ghee. Immediately, the body responded. Raghu swelled up and died 4 o'clock that morning. You don't do that. That's why we have to question even the Ayurvedic system of medicine. We have to question everything, including this. Don't let me stand before you and run off by the mouth, and you not investigate that. You have a right. Believe in no one. You are not made to believe in anyone. And if you don't take care of you, then who else gonna do that? No one else. But in closing, I want to say this again. When you go out those doors and you encounter that first person, remember that they are right. And thank you very much, and I love you. You know, it's about love. I mean, that's what I want from you. Let me put, and you have an ounce of the sea moss. You boil the sea moss in a pot, an ounce, in a pint and a half of distilled water, an ounce of both, and a pint and a half of distilled water. After you have boiled them and you have put the sea moss in the blender, you blend up, then you put the blarite in it, the liquid, sea moss, and it has come to a pulped up, it's smooth now like sauce.
I boil them separate.
You boil them separate, that's right.
110 minutes and 120, right?
Ma'am?
110 minutes and 120.
Right. You boil them separately. You unite them in the blender. Then you put your nutmeg, your cinnamon, and your vanilla, and then your maple syrup. Don't put sugar in it. Buy pure maple syrup. Because then you would not have any adulteration in your compound. And when you drink that, like the camera said, you are going to feel it, and it is so delicious. It's good for your bones, it's good for your skin, it's good for your muscles.
Any special kind of pot you boil it in?
Ma'am?
Any special kind of
Pot always should be stainless steel.
Okay.